A double-din 7-inch head unit with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for under $200? What? Of course, it's an Android Chinese radio, but is this radio made by Max Speeding Rods with a list of great features like built-in navigation, 7-inch HD monitor, and wireless smartphone features worth it? Hey, what's up? Josh from Breakers Stereo and Performance. Welcome to our channel that reviews and demos the latest in automotive upgrades like car audio, performance, suspension, and more. Because we don't drop stock. And if you're like us, where stock just doesn't cut it, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Now in this episode of Is It Worth It, we'll be taking a close look at this Max Speed Rods Q96 head unit to see if it's worth its retail price of only $199. Okay, so wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto normally come at a premium. In fact, the cheapest name brand radio with these features is over $400 and is made by Pioneer. But what if you really like this feature but don't want to pay a premium? Well, if you can live without the certainty that a name brand gives you, then this might be an option for you. So in this video, we'll go over all the features, unbox it, fire it up, and give it a demo. Finally, we'll give you our pros and cons list along with our overall rating. Okay, so let's begin. Now this is an AM/FM head unit. This has a 7-inch HD capacitive touchscreen, 1280 by 720 with a 1080p video playback, picture-in-picture functions, built-in navigation that works with or without internet through a Wi-Fi card or tethered through your smartphone. This unit runs off the Android 10s software, 5 gigahertz, A53 quad core with 2 gigs of RAM plus 32 gigs of ROM. Now this does not have a disk drive, but has Bluetooth 5.0 for phone calls and music streaming. Auxiliary input with a TF card input, and it has 2 USB inputs on the front, one for data and one to charge. There are also 2 USB pigtails, front, rear, and sub pre-outs, front and rear camera inputs, DSP settings including a 14-band EQ, 2-way and 3-way crossovers, and time delay, which we'll get into during the demo. Steering wheel control ready, and audio video outputs, and of course, wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Okay, let's do the unboxing. Okay, so we got everything already unboxed, but let's go over what's inside of the box itself. All right, so let's start with the wire harness. You have your basic wire harness here, and then you have your backup camera input. You have the GPS antenna. All right, they give you a set of pry tools, so that's a nice touch. You have the mounting brackets, and then on the RCAs, we have a bunch of different RCAs here. So we have a subwoofer left and right. You have rears left and right. You have front left and right. Then you also have center channel left and right, along with an auxiliary in left and right. And then you also have a video output. And then there also is another video input that you can use for a front camera. And then you have a mic input. Now they don't give you an external microphone for this, but there is a microphone that's on the front. I can't say I'm not a fan of that. So if there's a way to get an external mic for this, I think that'd be great. Oh, and they also give you an owner's manual, okay? And unlike most of those Chinese Android radios, this thing is actually pretty nice and in color. Let's take a look at the unit itself. All right, so on the radio, this is a super thin chassis, all right? We have the microphone on top, the knob here, and then you have a charging port, auxiliary, and then this is the data USB port. So if you wanted to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto wired, you would just plug it in through here. Okay, now let's take a look. Oh, I do want to check this out real quick. Now this says it is a 7-inch screen, so let's go ahead and measure this thing and see if it actually is 7 inches. As described, we are dead on 7 inches. So this is a true 7-inch screen. That's good. On the back, we have the power input here, and then these are going to be for our RCAs. Also the backup camera, and the GPS antenna is going to go here. Standard AM/FM antenna plug in here, and you do have an HDMI input, so an HDMI input as well. A lot of these name brand radios do not give you an HDMI input until you get into the higher models. This one has it at $199. Okay, another great plus. All right, so there's one thing I want to talk about before we continue here, is most of these Chinese radios are a little bit larger on the outside. Now that makes it difficult when installing these in cars that are in America. Now I don't know if they're any different in Europe or in Asia, but I know this, is anytime someone brings in a Chinese radio, we always charge a little bit more because the kit doesn't go around the face, and I'll show you here. This is standard kit, okay, and I think this is for it's a Honda Pilot. All right, now this is supposed to go over the top of this, and as you can see, it doesn't quite fit. It's a little big on the outside. Now, there are brackets that will allow this to hold this into place. So this basically goes like this, okay? That goes in place. And then from here, our radio goes in. From there, we should be able to bolt it right in. But as you can see, what's happening is it's bowing out, and you're not gonna be able to bolt that down. I'll give you an idea of how this is supposed to work. Here's a Sony. This goes right over, just like that, as you can see. It goes right over. You take your brackets in like this. Okay, as you can see, bolt it into the side. Okay, the bolts line up on the side, and then you're good to go, and that's what it looks like. If I try to take this radio and do the same thing, it's too big, it's bowing out really bad, it's not sliding through, and you're not gonna be able to bolt this down, okay? I'll tell you what, I'll give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. There goes the knob. Let's see if we can make this work without having to modify. Screwing it in and it's shifting the radio up. This thing is like bowing out pretty far. There's a big gap on the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, so on this particular kit, that's not gonna work. So that's not a good thing. And then this knob is not going on. So the knob won't go on either. It's typical of these Chinese radios. For whatever reason, they make them slightly bigger than we do here in, for the American market. Again, I don't know if the Asian market or if the European market or the South American market is any different than us, but this is what we struggle with when these things come in. All right, so something to keep in mind if you are considering this radio, that if you are in America and you want to put it in your vehicle using a kit, then it may be tougher for you to get it installed. Okay, just want to make sure we covered that. Okay, so here's our main menu. Right now it's connecting to an Android that I had previously connected to, and that is wireless. All right, so there we go. Let's just take a look at this real quick. Since we're here, we have our wireless Android Auto. Here's our home screen, and then we can pick and choose what we want from here. Okay, so everyone kind of knows how that works already. Just know it's wireless, and it does work, and it does hook up pretty quick. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the main screen. All right, so we'll start from the left here. This button here is your navigation button, so this will take you to the iGo navigation. All right, so pretty straightforward. Select the destination. Start navigation. All right, so we'll go ahead and just exit out of there. And then let's go to the next thing, which is the phone. So since I have the Android phone hooked up, it takes me to Android Auto. We'll go back. Music, so those are music files. So you can upload music onto the hard drive. Next we have phone calls. And then next here we have our apps. So here we have our apps and also our sources. So we have our auxiliary, Bluetooth music, car info, the Chrome browser, the DSP, which we'll get into right now, gallery, Google, GPS monitor. Here we go, iGo navigation, Google Maps. And because this is an Android tablet, you can put apps on here and you can do things like Netflix directly onto the screen. We don't have that hooked up right now. Spotify as well. And then video and also YouTube. Okay, so let's talk about the screen really quick. Let me go ahead and turn on Wi-Fi. So I'm gonna go into here, we'll go into settings, and then we'll go to Wi-Fi, and then we'll turn the Wi-Fi on. And then we're connected, so let's go ahead and go back. All right, so let's check out the resolution here. It's actually really good. I set it to 720 on YouTube. It will do 1080, so let's find a 1080 video. All right, so that's set at 1080, that looks pretty good. Now the screen is a little reflective, so I imagine in the sun it may not be as good, but it is high resolution and it is pretty bright, so that is a good thing. Okay, all right, let's go into the DSP, and then from here we have the EQ settings. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 band equalizer. Now, this is a standard parametric EQ, so it's set frequencies and you can just move those up and down. You also have listening, which is balance and fade. Okay, so you do have outputs on here. You have your center channel, your front left and right, your rear left and right, and your sub left and right. Now we do have our 5.1. That's going to give us our center channel, front, rear, and subwoofers. And then we can set here high pass crossovers, low pass crossovers. Okay, so this gives us the ability to do a two-way setup. Also a three-way setup, but let's start with the two-way here. So our two-way is going to give us our front tweeters, our front mids, and then our rear fill speakers along with our subwoofer. This does give you the ability to control both the high pass and the low pass. Let's say we're doing our doors, okay? So we're doing the door speakers here, and we want it to high pass at, let's say, 50 hertz, okay? Also low pass, and let's say we want to go 800. Okay, so that will play the frequencies between 50 and 800 for our mid speakers in the door. Now, you also have a three-way setup. So if you have a three-way setup in the front, you have your front tweeters, your front mids, and your front lows. And then you could set those accordingly. So pretty nice for your DSP settings. Now, I guess the only thing I would say is it would have been nicer to have, let's say, the EQ settings like directly on the home screen. So you can just go to EQ and have it go directly to that, or to DSP, I should say, go directly to that so you can get into your sound setup. So in order to get your sound setup, you do have to go here, tap there, and tap DSP. So it's not too tough, but again, it would have been nice to just have it one touch. All right, our AM FM radio is here. Now on this screen, you can go directly to that, which is good. So instead of having to go through the menu, you can just tap that button right in the front and that'll take you to your DSP settings. So that's nice, I do like that. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do to wrap up this demo is I'm gonna show you how to go ahead and hook up your iPhone wirelessly. So I disconnected the Android that was hooked up, and now I'm gonna go into my Bluetooth menu. Okay, so the device name is called CAR_FYD, so tap that there. And then our code is gonna be 40, so 0000, hit pair, and then it's connecting. All right, and that's it. So we got CarPlay connected wirelessly. And then we have all our functions here. Again, the screen looks really good. Happy with the way that looks. That actually hooked up pretty quick. All right, and that'll conclude the demonstration. Okay, pros and cons, starting with the pros. Wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, of course. There's DSP functions, HDMI input, HD 7-inch display, and of course, the price. Okay, and now the cons. No external microphone built into the face, but it does look like you can buy a microphone separate. I thought it should have been easier to get to the audio settings, and of course, the sizing, it's not quite the right size for the American market. Okay, to answer the question, is it worth it? If you're in the US and if you're up to the challenge, just expect to spend more time or more money when installing it. Then I would say yes. For $199, you get a lot. Wireless features, HDMI input, a good screen, built-in navigation, along with some pretty decent DSP features. All right, with all that being said, we're gonna give this radio a 4-star rating. If it was the correct doubles in size, I would have gave it a 4.25, but because it's not, I'm not going to. All right, that's gonna do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Again, my name is Josh. I'm with Breaker Stereo and Performance. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.